You cannot imagine how intimate I've been with you over the last few days. And today I'm getting the faces that belong to, okay, the many people I analyzed. I understand there is a number of people here that are just walk-ins. You're most welcome, and probably you're going to leave very, very curious, admiring the people who signed up. And don't worry, there will be more options, more possibilities. I keep the introduction as short as possible because there's too much to share. So, as Keshvi announced, my name is Khurram. My background, I did about everything wrong I could do wrong in my life. Not only that, I'm afraid I confused my body with 25 years of loads of alcohol, party, doing totally the wrong things, reaching the top in business, only to find out it's not my path. Because the fact that we are capable to do something doesn't mean that that is the invitation we get in this life. And the only result is a format of burnout. Maybe especially for the ladies, but why not also for the men? There is no way to look better, to become younger, to feel stronger than just living your truth. To give you a little example, next year I invite you all on my 70th birthday. And this is no joke, and this is all waiting for you. Nothing destroys us more, make us more older than the worry, the stress, the conflicts. Okay, have I forgotten something? Yes. For the last 17 years, after I stepped out of the confusion of my corporate world, I lived in Monte Carlo, Monaco for 9 years. I was super important and so unhappy. For the last 17 years, I have been consulted mainly in corporate about crisis management, sometimes in the company, very often directly to the person who was consulting me. Many burnout situations. Very interesting also to check if a board of directors had all the qualities together to run the company, because all that information you can get here. One thing important, this is not a reading. Is anyone familiar with human design? Great. So this is not a human design reading. Human design is probably the most advanced source of metaphysics to make analysis. I am not so much a fan of readings because normally it leaves you even more confused than you were before, and it is only maybe 10% of the story to know who and what you are, and it's 90% of the story to go to for the change of who and what you are. And if the one gives you a reading and then let you go and do it yourself after the reading, it's about the worst thing you can do. So this is very much about the big change that is awaiting most of you. Let's see. Yes, you find 2 books on the table. These are just prototypes of the book What is in Printing. For anyone who is interested, they are available for half of the printing cost. And maybe one day they will have a collection value, because this will not be the final book. This is a workshop about manifesting leadership. What is manifesting leadership? The first thing about leadership is being capable to lead yourself. The second element, and there is also 3, 4, 5, but they come later, that is that if you're co-creating with other people, or if you're leading other people, it is so important to have an introduction on the amazing landscape of characters that are out there. Because we speak words, but almost every one of you will hear the words and translate the words in maybe a different way than I meant the words. So it's not so much how you mean the words, but to be able to communicate in a way that it arrives. And there is something more important. We all have different buttons for our self-esteem, to be activated, to be motivated. And if you want to be in leadership, you should recognize, how do I respect the one I work with? How do I motivate the one? How do I activate the one? And especially the most important button is a button about creativity. So this is the reason for this setting, where I give everyone who signed up a few glimpses on themselves. But it's so much more important also to have the glimpses how different other people are. Because life is a game between those. And so much where we think that we are wrong, or that we are confused, or that whatever judgment there is of society, we are not wrong at all. We maybe have to go a few steps more deep in what society say, wow, that person is confused, to become stronger. Okay, so I hope that this setting will encourage you to just be who you are. Then everyone I received the details from until, or let's say before yesterday, I've invited to give me some feedback. What are the specific things you would like to hear about? I'm sorry, I couldn't do it for the ones I received last night because there was too little time until now, but you will have a second opportunity, so no worries. Then on the table, you see a number of copies with prints of designs that has only one function: to find out that there is no two people on the whole planet who have the same definition. For the rest, don't worry. You will all, everyone I have the email address from and I have details, will receive their own design by email. Yeah, because here there are groups, and then I thought I had everything, so I had to print it. The next day, 3 more people signed up, and so on and so on. So much welcome. Okay. General about this setting. It is so easy for me to impress you that I probably will know things about you. You also know that you were not aware of. The moment I bring it up, you will recognize it. This is not a meeting to impress you. It's to show the landscape. Because again, hi, shall I sit higher? It's all about the process of change, and I hope that I'm capable to support whoever is going for that great adventure. You know, I'm close to 70 now, and I start to read reading glasses. I try to do without, otherwise I don't see you anymore. Okay, then I put a few alarms in my telephone because I got 60 minutes for the whole story, and maybe I get lost in the first chapter. So please turn off or put your phones on air mode. My phone is only ringing for me to keep a little bit track in the time planning. Okay. Then, yes, I will skip the background, how in metaphysics it's possible to get insights about things. Normal science is just getting the first glimpses how it works, just to save time on these 60 minutes. Anyone who wants to hear more about it, with so much pleasure, I will share it in another moment. Yes, so human design, what I use as a source, the amazing thing about human design is it was downloaded. And I know the guy who downloaded, and I really don't understand why the gods have chosen him. to get this information because he was one of the most confused people on the island of Ibiza. But okay, it is what it is. And he was in a trip with something you inject in cows. I have no idea, but what's the cheapest drug you could have? He blew away, and I have no idea how it works. But he got information. What was so relevant, and this makes the difference with almost every other source of metaphysics, that it immediately has been taken by scientists to further develop, because it totally was in tune with psychology and a number of other scientists, and it was exactly giving them the missing links in conclusion. And that has risen human design to a level that in practice you really can use it. Another thing where I am, or I have been often involved, is when there are serious conflicts, for instance, between a parent and a child. And it's never about the conflict. It's not about I don't want to brush my teeth or whatever conflict it is. It's an energy conflict. There is something in the parent that blocks the child in anything, and the expression where the conflict is a coincidence. I would never have been capable to immediately recognize where the blockage is if I wouldn't have the insights from, for instance, human design. I use 5 or 6 different sources. And not only that, but the moment you show the child and you show the parent where the conflict is, and that's not about brushing teeth, immediately the problem is gone. It is magic. Because number one, we are energy beings. We permanently react on the energy, what is around us, the energy that comes into us, and we are totally different depending on that energy. Let me come with a few examples. Okay, now I have to read. May I ask you just to put a finger up or whatever, because I'm so curious to see the faces. And that is, oh my God, Claudia. Hi, Claudia. Camilla. We met. Simona. Hey. You know, every one of you already has a whole story for me. Zornitsa. There you are. Kimberly. Hey, Kimberly. Nadira. Still coming. Yuna. Yuna Lee. Hi, Yuna. Kashfi. Down there. You belong to a very specific group of energy beings. And they are called generators. You represent 70% of the population on this planet. Why are you called generators? And a few of them are called manifesting generators. Because you have a built-in mechanism generating energy. And congratulations, therefore you are the workers on this planet. And I'm afraid the majority are not the workers on this planet, but they are the slaves on this planet. Sorry, now I have to find out how to turn it off. I am so great with these machines. May I ask you to turn it off?
Turn it off?
No, just the first alarm. Most of the people who are called generators are the slaves, because they were never told, yes, you are here to do the job. And the only job you should do is the job you love. Because by doing what you love, you become stronger and stronger and stronger. The generators, because 70% of all the people are generator, they are radiating that energy. And now I come to the even more important and more special groups, the non-generators. They are permanently bombarded with that energy of those people who are born here to work. And they think I'm born to work too. And this is one of the main reasons for burnout. It is so important to recognize what comes from you and what depends on what is, how lovely to see you here, what is simply entering your aura. And in general, our aura has a radius about 25 meters. So, oh my God, we are all pumped as we sit here with about 20 people. So it's all about recognizing who are you and what is entering my aura in this very moment.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
I didn't fill out the information that they've given you.
No punishment.
What have they provided you in order to know that they're generating?
One of the sources, and the main source I use, is human design. And for that, I only need the birth data. So that's the date of birth, the time of birth. From a number of you, I didn't got the time of birth, but I have my own way to calculate it. Then I need the place where you were born and the city where you're born. All these things are time, because the country, the city, is related to where you are on this planet within a bigger time frame. So that's all the information I got. With some, I even have to guess if they're male or female or anything. On top of that, I've invited a number of people. Okay, what would you like to know more about? And in this setting, I will try to answer in short. Answered? Great. Okay, please come in. Where is... Oh, I don't know how to pronounce it. Aislinn. Ashlyn. Sorry, Ashlyn. Ashlyn. Elizabeth.
Here.
Wow. Michelle. Okay. These are three very, very special people. They are the only three in the rainbow of types who don't need us. These are the only three people in, let's say, from where I have the information. We call them manifestors. They can create, manifest alone, just by themselves. And because of that, we don't like them. Okay, we all confronted with a judgment of society. We call that conditioning. And in conditioning, you should first ask before you do. They never heard about first asking before they do. Most of the manifestors, and of course these three are an exception or the rule, on the rule, are broken people. In childhood, they were punished so often that they leave the house, maybe they're 3 years old, to visit grandmother, and they step in the train or the whatever. And when they were asked, why don't you ask me? Why would I? Manifestors have went through an enormous process of conflict. And my answer to you is, create more conflict. Because you have to be what you are. It's the only way to stand in your power. And there are a few little tricks to have less conflict with the people around. Okay, this was a 3-minute introduction about the manifesto. We easily could have a week only about the manifesto, but more is coming. Let's see if this is organized well. Dania, where are you? Yeah. I love you. Janet. Why Janet is not here? She's so important. Leticia. Hi, Leticia. These three people belong to the blood group, and there's nothing to do with your blood group, we call projectors. For these people, they hardly ask, who am I? They permanently ask, and who are you? Because these people is the only group who has the quality to read other people if they act from the right perspective. The lovely three manifestors we have here, they represent the old emperors, the high priests, the generals, who never ask opinion about anyone. They just decided they go to war, they do this, they do whatever. Today, the world is led by the projectors because they have most qualities required not only to read the other one, but you generators, you carry all the energy. But most of you have no idea what to do. These projectors have no energy by themselves, or very little energy by themselves, but they recognize perfectly who should be put on which job. It's like nature. In a way, we all need each other, even those crazy manifestors. We are one family. We need all these different characteristics to evolve as human species. And Felicia. Oh my God. There is no OO.
Okay.
There is one more type, and it's very, very rare to meet them. There is, under famous people, only one person known belonging to that type. Michael Jackson. Stand up, my dear, and make it, because you have been dancing for many years, yeah?
Yes, New York Theater Ballet, 5 years.
Okay. These people have no definition. And that can be, you can sit down,
Okay.
such a tremendous challenge. Because wherever you are imprinted by whoever steps into your aura, and that's within 25 meters, defines who you are, and they step out of the 25 meters, and you're not. So in every perception of truth or whatever, there is inconsistency. But these are the people that totally reflect the world around them. They are the most innocent people you can imagine. And they need a lot of strategy and understanding themselves and knowing how to operate, not to be burned by a society where it's absolutely not always a party. So you are open in every definition. And what is the definition? Our crown chakra defines very much what we receive. Then we call this the ashana. That is how our brains operate. We have a throat. It defines how we communicate. And then we have a few very, very special chakras, organs, intelligences, whatever you want to call it. For instance, the spleen defines our immunity system. The solar plexus defines how we are emotionally defined. The sacral, there is that enormous pump, what is only with the generators, and so on and so on. Now imagine all the others of you have a number of intelligences. Simply, you are this, and you are that, and you are that. And all of us have a number of things where we are open. And there are three people that are almost like Felicia. Because from the 9 centers, They have 7 centers open. And therefore, and by the way, I think there are 5 or 6, I will list the names, where the majority of centers are open. That means you are inconsistent in those elements, what is defined there. So what went wrong? Nothing. You were born to discover through those other people who imprint you. In the moment they are in your aura, their perception of truth. Let me give an example. The generators, they represent everything what's juicy. What's the most juicy thing in life? You forgot? Sex. Good food. Music. This is all deeply defined in every generator. The non-generator is not missing out on anything. But let's say we talk about sex. The moment they meet, in a case a generator, they will perceive the reality of sex in the way that generator is defined. And now you sleep with someone else and you perceive it in another way. And this is with food, this is with many things. And if there are any people who are in their sexual definition asking themselves, I'm not even sure what I like more, men or women or whatever, do not worry, because this can be one of the elements where you become defined depending on the way who is entering your aura. So I'm just going to name the people where it makes tremendously sense to get a few glimpses by what kind of perceptions of truth you're probably daily and a few times per day imprinted. See you soon, my dear. And that is, oh my God. When you talk about Claudia, about Camilla, about Simona, about Sonisha, about Yunali, about Carmen, about Kashfi, about Michelle, and about Danya, or Dania, sorry. You will be, or your life and your perception of truth has an inconsistency about a number of very important things, and that inconsistency is your treasure, because you can look in many formats of truth. The only thing it's relevant to know, if I act in a certain way, is that me, or is that defined by whatever happens around me? Because otherwise you get confusion. The other side is, if you have an element you don't feel too strong in, you know exactly what to look for. Didn't you ask me if you should partner with someone? I'm so happy the brain works a little bit. Yes, you should. But because she loves to set up cinema. Yeah, please turn off.
Sorry.
No, but it helps me to be on track. It's not because she's missing something, but she is born to provide the creative input of a project she has in mind. And you could lose yourself totally in a manifesting trip. But there's more to it, because there is a strategy how to select the person that suits me. It's not enough that that other person just have the quality. It must be in tune with you. Yanali, where are you on the list? I have so many names here. Yunali, sorry. because you have very specific ways you operate. You like to withdraw, you like to be very much on yourself. A whole list I can make. And this must be respected with whoever you're going to work. I'm jumping from subject to subject, trying to create an overall picture. Emotion. Can you imagine that 50% of the people on our planet have an emotional definition that makes them about twice a month going from the roller coaster, from the world is beautiful, nothing can go wrong, until moments of deep despair. Strange enough, there are only 4 people here who has given the data. Congratulations, Yuna. Congratulations, Carmen, Kashfi, and now I try to say it well, Ashlyn. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. The only thing that can go wrong, if you wake up next to a beautiful soul and you are down in your emotional roller coaster, you have something like, oh no. You blame the other one, and the other one has nothing to do with it because it's inside yourself. And this is the main cause of divorce, of fight, of all kind of things. And it's worse for all the others who have filled the information and who do not have this definition. They live a feeling like, if they wake up next to this person, what did I do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. And there is only one way to find out. Just before you take your shower, walk out, go in the garden, and the moment you're 25 meters away and that feeling of what did I do wrong disappears, you know that the other one has one of their moods. And from that moment, you're totally protected. For the ones who go the emotional roller coaster, by the way, I am also defined as one of these. The moment you are deep down in despair, you have the highest power in creativity. I always have a few things in my computer waiting for me. I take when I'm down in my circle, because I'm in my power for creativity. And now, to put the whole story upside down, being aware where you are somewhere in your wave takes away the drama. And I even have days, I was so happy that I was deep down yesterday because I had a lot of work to do for you, a lot of analysis. And this is not only calculation work, but the moment I have to find out in what time you were born and whatever, I need many other tools. And I need that creativity. I'm sorry, I'm only touching so many different subjects to give you an idea what an amazing landscape it is to be a human being. And it's up to you to decide how valuable it is to understand a little bit more the other. Because for so much of the time, you are the other in one or more elements of your being. Health. Manifestors, reflector, projectors. For you, it's so important not to be confused by that booming generator energy around you. For the generators I've mentioned, it's so good to continue until you're exhausted and to drop down at 2 o'clock in the morning, and at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, you're ready to be there. Projectors, you're not. You need till 10:30, 11 o'clock until the machine is running. Manifestors, you are not. and you all think it's all about working. Projectors and manifestors were not born to work. The projectors are here to lead. The manifestors are here to recognize who to put in what position to work for them. For you, it could be very, very helpful to sleep alone. Because sleeping next to that always pondering energy doesn't allow you to go deep into your delta sleep. So make a ceremony when there is time, or let's say when it's on the agenda to have a ceremony, and then withdraw into your own energy. If some people love to run in the morning or whatever, great for all the generators. Also great for manifestors and projectors, and for you. If you feel like it, if you feel the energy are there, you are part-time workers. Only when you feel it's the moment for me to do it, you do it. You join the others. But don't sign up to be every morning at 7 o'clock at a yoga class or this class or that class, because it could work very counterproductive for you. Have I confused you enough, or shall I continue a little bit? Most of you will get the things in writing, and you can decide yourself if you're part of the most of you. Okay, jumping from subject to subject. In that definition, the copies that are living there, I think Janet is missing. We have Aislinn and Simona. Help me, Simona, again. Yes. Sometimes life can be confusing, huh? You two have something special. We all have a kind of imprint of what we are. Half of you have a kind of a double imprint. You are this, and you are also this, where it's important to recognize which of the two are leading. Because it's a very different truth, a very different strategy you're following. And you two, with Janet, have a triple imprint. Congratulations. And this, I don't have the names in alphabetic order, but in order of how you were defined, Ashley and Janet. So this could be a reason for a one-to-one chat, to really come into strategy and what is the leading truth in what I am.
What does it mean, triple imprint? So being generator and manifestor and...
No. The manifestor, everything is around the sacral. That is that pumping machine, the energy. And imagine you also have a very strong definition in the brain. We live a society what is totally mind-geared. So because of your education, you follow your brain. And you don't follow the strategy, what is healthy for you. It's these kind of things. It's possible that you have a strong emotional definition, while that emotional definition is not your compass to walk. So in these things, but this is so individual, so these are one-to-one sessions. Yes, our brains, our mind. In that mind-oriented society, the mind took over. Here it's so interesting to look at indigenous people, where the mind has a very, very different role. Let's go into that mind. The miraculous function of the mind is to translate thoughts into words. It's amazing. My elbows cannot do it. Nothing else can do it. But now, how to be on my steering wheel? Because by mistake we put that mind on our throne, and the mind is two-dimensional, left, right, up, down, good, bad. The mind can only look in functionalities or in perceptive of past and future. And your great mind, what is the past? Heavily emotional colored memories. So per definition, not the naked truth. It was your version of truth when you went through something. And what is the mind related to future? Fears. Nothing else than fears. And where does our life happens? Only in one moment. Not in the past, not in the future. In now. And the one who ever have experienced that the mind knew what to do in the now may stand up. The mind doesn't know. And then we have another group of intelligences that are generally defined as higher senses. And the amazing thing about the higher senses, they're never about yesterday. They're never about tomorrow. They're only about now. So this is for everybody of you, and this is one of the most difficult things in deconditioning. It's a process of unlearning instead of learning, because you must be also great in learning, go to new courses, how to be more powerful, how to be this, how to... No, this is only a story of becoming who you are. And the function of the mind is to be the chief secretary, to note all those messages that come from the higher senses. And here the generators, what is, how many? Well, more than half of us. They even get about 25 to 30 messages a day. And in another situation, I will help you to recognize those. And there is your guidance. And the mind tends to turn down what it doesn't understand. It denies it, because that is the way it's trained. And then those higher senses who talk with a soft voice and doesn't talk in words is not heard. And that mind, always a loud voice, and continues to repeat until you follow it. So there is a very important challenge in getting your balance between your higher senses and your mind. Because if the higher senses tell you to go in that direction, the mind can be so helpful that before you cross the street, you just walk, look left and right, and you're not killed by a car. But the functions of mind and higher senses are totally, totally different, and you need both of them. There is another thing. Everybody I named generator, and I didn't make a difference between manifesting generator and generator because too many details for today. When something doesn't work out, what is the feeling you have? Frustration. And that is totally different than the manifestors. What do they feel? Anger. And anger is poison. But it's a warning that you have to adjust your strategy. And the projectors don't have frustration, don't have the anger. They have the bitterness when something doesn't work out. The bitterness is even a bigger poison than the anger. But we will bring it in context, how it can be very useful to get that information and how to correct your strategy. Yes, but now it went off so many times that I totally lost myself where we are. I make a little in between, where maybe I would love when there is someone with you that could assist me. We will continue with this landscape. I will now go into what some of you have asked. I have special interest to know a little bit more about this or about that. But you probably already could conclude there is not only far too much information to share in 60 minutes, but information is very different depending on which person. Therefore, may I ask you to pass it on? I make a little list with subjects where maybe any one of you could be worth to get a little bit more information. And I blocked. Yeah, just pass on. And it's possible you find nothing behind your name. It doesn't mean that you are not welcome. But there is not a specific one-to-one thing that should be worked upon. I reserve 20 hours in the coming 2 weeks that I'm still in Ubud, where I can be of service to give additional one-to-one or little group information, because sometimes you see that is the crosses in one of the other columns where there are subjects that are relevant for more than one person. And the people who are now interested to give information about their birth data, I could also define on what subject it could be very, very valuable to get a little bit more insights. Because I do not know how the life rhythm is of the Ubudians, I would love to have one of you telling me, okay, better do this on Wednesday 2 o'clock and do that on whatever time, so I can suit a little bit your rhythm of life. And I'm probably have to travel after about 2 weeks. So therefore, I blocked more than half of my agenda to be available for anyone who would like to connect with this. Camilla. How could I be looking in the wrong direction? Wow, you have done many, many things in life. And you are a super, super flexible person. Camilla, yes, you would like to know better or more how you could serve the world. At least that is what I read in your mail. This is so beautiful. And the answer is so simple. In next sessions, you will find out that you have very, very specific gifts and talents. And you were not born in a tombola. There is no coincidence in life. Whatever your role is related to the special gifts and talents you received. And the last thing you should do is to search in society, where am I asked? What should I be doing? There's nothing else than really living your truth. And you will be the magnet that exactly the right experiences come on your path and the right people come on your path. Oops. Living in purpose. I got that from 2 people, and where is the other one? Sometimes Claudia, and cannot find it. How to find your purpose? We all have the experience that sometimes, what am I doing? Again, the same answer as for you. live your truth, live your definition, and you automatically will meet your purpose. There's one subject I haven't mentioned yet, failure. Let's say what society calls failure, because there's a bit difference between what society calls failure and what failure really is. Where is my other one? This one. I would like to name Claudia, Camilla, Yuna Lee, Ashlyn, Michelle, and Felicia. The first 30 years of your life were so much fun, wasn't it?
It was.
How often have you asked yourself, why do I have to walk dead-end streets? You didn't walk dead-end streets, because the majority of the names I just listed are meant to become role models in society. But you need that first 30 years of bumping into things, of breaking bonds, of anything, especially your mother would say, is she again? You needed that experience to taste life. So how much is this being wrong? It is a trip of discovery. Then, Simona, help me. Yes, oh, there you are. You love to be by yourself, eh? Do it even more. Zornicia. Oh my God. Felicia. It's where you load your batteries. And then for a large number of you, Claudia, Camilla, Simona already mentioned, and Felicia, the moment you don't recognize the path you walk, there's only one thing to do. Withdraw in silence. It's not only loading you the batteries, it's giving you the insight. Don't be in cramp. Don't be searching. By the way, is there anyone here who would be willing to help me a little bit to define the hours when I could be available for additional information? I thank you so much. It is not a permanent thing, but just to help me, what is the life of an Ubudian? Then there are a few people here. Sonissa, Elizabeth, Janet, who is not here, and Leticia, who have intrinsic knowledge about friendship that goes so far deeper than anyone else of us. Because like a number of people, Kimberly, Nadira, Carmen, and Kashfi, what is their compass? Number one thing, I should be capable to pay my bills. Things have to be organized. And the moment it's not organized because they're walking whatever track, total chaos came in their life until they step back and get organized. We all have different ways, but a combination of two, which passes our truth, and what happens if we do not live our truth because it's kicking our asses to go back into not only where we feel comfortable, but some things have to be organized. And the names I just mentioned about friendship, For those people, there is only one connection with the rest of the world. It could be sometimes hard to do everything over the computer. They have to feel the other. The other, they can meet somebody so extremely sexy. But there is only one way to connect, and that is friendship. There is so much beauty in each of our uniqueness where we communicate with the fellow being. And at least it's important to recognize this in yourself. For a number of us, relationship, this is an important question. Is there anyone not interested in that question? How does it go with relationship? For many of us, don't make strategy. Enjoy what you enjoy. Live in that very moment. Where I brought up bumping into situation, ending bonds, don't worry. It's about the one you are with in that very moment, and especially about that breaking bonds. It is so interesting when you have broken a bond with someone and you get an opening to re-establish. The ones in friendship have only one connection. But for quite a number of others, there are amazing, not strategies, because strategy for me sounds like following a rule, what I have to learn at school. And if I talk about strategy, I only talk about being the one you are, following your nature, be organic with life. There are a few that only search for one thing, and that is a soul mate. They are perfectionists, and they are generally quite optimistic. Claudia, Camilla, Yuna Lee. Isn't that nice? Ashlyn. And it should be and Felicia. I hope I do not know how many subjects I brought up, but I've tried to answer every single one who signed up to give some information that at least inspire you. Then it's only relevant where you resonate with, what you recognize. I even will say stronger, whatever you don't recognize, I probably said wrong, or I didn't make clear to you how I meant it. This is the opposite of learning. It's the opposite of following a course. It is resonating deep, deep, deep with what you are. And by the way, I mentioned higher senses. Well, I allow myself to go every 2 minutes to another subject. The work this lady is doing in breathwork, it's such a stimulation next to cleaning up, next to so many other things. But it is an incredible stimulation to come to yourself. Am I still within the 60 minutes, Kashfi? Oh, exactly on the second. I think I leave it with this. I caused enough confusion in your 60 minutes. I am so grateful for the feedback you have given. Anyone who is now motivated to get some information, on that yellow page there is somewhere my email address. Yes, so it's 4 things I need. your birth date, your birth time. If you don't know it, I am absolutely helped with a guess. Was it 1 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the afternoon? I do have ways to find out, but it's very, very time consuming. So the moment I get an indication, it saves me a lot of time. Then you see in the list, the yellow list is where I could be open for one-to-one sessions. And here, because I love the Ubud organization, whatever, and I offer to do it with 50% discount. But the fun is there are a number of group sessions. And when you go there with 6, you share the price with 6 other people, so probably it will be close to nothing. Because I prefer the group sessions, because maybe I'm talking about you, but the sister sitting next to you, there is an overlap. And by hearing not only what's relevant for you, but also for her and maybe for her, you get a much wider picture. And this is why, in principle, I do not do readings. I am hired from the step, yes, and now I want to become who I am. And you need some basic information. So anyone I will work with, I will give the human design information for free. I just send it by mail, read it, and if you have a question, okay, answer the question. It's like you want to learn to drive a car. I can tell you all the road signs, but still you cannot drive a meter. So the road signs I prefer to give for free. If there is confusion, please come back to me. And for me, the starting point is, okay, I know all the road signs. Let's start the engine. Let's go for it. I thank you all so much, because without you, I would have nothing to say here. You have created the content of this meeting. Any one of you who wants to have a follow-up, contact me, tell me, no obligations. I'm all yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.